Today we are back with another Google Sheets video. We'll be making a logon screen which uses passwords and usernames, and it's secure and you can store it all on your Google Sheets. So essentially what you're going to be able to do is sign in with, say, Bo, your username and your password. Our password's going to be encrypted, so that's why it says hash instead of password, and then it's going to show a balance. I pre-coded this program because it's easier for me to explain in the time of this video. Anyway, so the first thing you want to do is make the hash. So the hash is simply what we store our password in. So if we have a password which might be, say, cat or dog, and then we put it in a function, and this is our function MD5, we want a hash to come out. We want the person to not be able to just see cat as our password, because obviously that's not really secure. So instead we want it to be, say, some random string or numbers. Anyway, so I'll show you what MD5 does. Just a little note, this MD5 function is just a copy and paste, and it's a very commonly used function for doing passwords. So we just used MD5 algorithm, which is some crazy maths which I don't understand, but essentially it gets the password, it encodes it, makes it some random characters, and then you can't do the opposite. You can't easily decode it without a lot of brute force and a lot of time. So I'll just show you what it does. So let's set our own password right now. I'll set the password as, we'll use cat. Let's use cat. Sorry, let me make it a string. And then for the Julia account, let's also set another password, and let's make hers dog. As you can see, it's converted cat into this random assortment of strings. I've got no idea how this relates to cat, but somehow that's what the MD5 algorithm does. Okay, now we want to work on the actual login screen. So this is going to be a HTML element, so just a little warning. And we're also going to use a doGet, which is an API request to load this HTML screen. So essentially, we're going to get this data, and then if the user has logged in successfully, we will show them a HTML screen which shows their balance. So first things first, we want to get the spreadsheet and logins, which is just the spreadsheet we're using. And we want to get the last row and the last column, and these are just helper functions. Next thing we want to do in this line is check if the user has submitted a password and a username. If they haven't, we just want to return down here, please supply username and password. So then we want to hash the password which says supplied. So we need to now put it into this format again. So obviously if they put cat, we're not going to compare to cat, we're going to compare to a hash. So that's what we're doing here. And then we just want to get all the hashes in this row. And we're just going to do a for loop and check if it matches any of these hashes. So that's what we're doing here, just doing a loop through all the hashes. If the hash is equal to the other hash, then we want to do some more stuff. But if none of the hashes are equal, what we're going to do is just say incorrect password. So no passwords have linked up. But now that a password has linked up, so that's here, we're going to get the next range of values, which is these values, username. And if we skip, if the username is now the same as the username supplied, then we are going to actually do something. So we're going to create a file, and we're just going to load it in. This file is going to be called index.html, and that's how we do it. We just load in HTML file, and that's our file up here, and I'll show you that in a sec. And then we are creating a simple function, and that's just getting the data from the server. So we're setting up a function which is username and the money currency. So money and currency are just related to money and currency are the same thing, but the balance is related to this number and the username is related to this number. So if we have a link to a password and a username, then we get the balance here. And this function is just meant to correspond with the index.html, and I'll show you that now. But essentially, that's essentially it for the code. I'll upload it on the GitHub. So we'll look at the index.html now file. So we have our default HTML setup. Right now we're just going to have a header, and we're going to give it the ID header, and we're also going to give another one the ID money. So these IDs, we actually have like no text right now, but we're going to add some text by adding some functions which link to these IDs in particular. And the way we do this is by starting some JavaScript code. That's just through the script. We don't need to worry about this, but just know that this is like where we store our JavaScript data. And then, so we're going to get our document and initialize it for this ID of header. And our inner text is going to be hello plus data.name. So data is our connection here. So that's our connection here. And we are giving the data function username and currency. So you'll see me use, we're not giving it username and currency, we're giving it name and money. And you can see that I use data.name and data.money. So that just shows us connecting our JavaScript code to our HTML code. And essentially we just initialize it, and then since we want it to load when we actually load up this HTML script, we just do window.onload.initialize, and that'll just mean it appears as soon as you open it up. The last thing we want to do is deploy this. So we press deploy. Now we have a link. If you just were to not enter any details, it will say please supply username and password. If we were to just go username equals Bo, I don't know if this had an error message. Okay, it's still saying to supply the password. So then if we do password equals, let's go dog, because our password is meant to be cat. It will say incorrect username. That probably should say incorrect password, but I'll fix it up for the final GitHub one. But if we were to use username equals Bo and password equals cat, we'll see hello Bo, your current balance is 5. And then if we were to use our other username, Julia, and password equals cat, so password equals dog, you'll see hello Julia, your current balance is 0. And you can actually easily change this. We'll just change that to 10. Let's refresh it. And Julia's balance is now 10. I forgot to mention, so we're just copying the deploy link and then we're querying it. So anything after this question mark is a query. And this is our first query. So we're querying username, which was one of our endpoints we made, to e.parameter.username. And then we're also doing e.parameter password, so password and username. The way we do both of them is through the little ampersand in the middle. I think that's about it. The code will be on the GitHub. Thanks for watching.